I'm just saying, okay, if you're gonna charge me for sex, you should like let me know that at the beginning of the date and not after I've already spent $100 on Don Julio shots. Like that's just bad manners, if anything else.
It happened to you again? This is the
I
fourth
mean,
time now. I mean, we gotta.
listen, I travel a lot for work. I'm in the middle of nowhere. You know, you kind of girl starts hitting on me. I'm just kind of like, go with it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
right?
You
But
can't.
just look at me afterwards and be like, hey, yeah, so sir, you know, you got to pony up. I'm like, listen, woman, I
Listen.
got two Jacksons for some action.
No,
What's going on?
all you
Okay.
listen. I've told you before. All you got to do in that situation is just pull the Uno reverse. Be like, "Oh no, no, no! You have to pay me." I was
I
like,
don't travel with my card deck. That is a mistake on my behalf. I will make sure.
imagine, imagine you're just like, hmm. She's like, you know what? That's fair.
Right,
How
yes.
much
You
do I
know,
owe you? Like,
or at least have my Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Like you've fallen for my trap
yeah.
card.
Just flip the cards that are on the count.
Right. Yeah.
Reverse. No. Oh no!
Use
Oh
your
yes! Yeah. Oh my gosh.
uh,
Anyway, hello all. And may the force be with you,
May the fourth be with you all.
and also with you. Wait, that doesn't work like that.
Well, it's fine.
Okay.
We were
Kayla.
going to do a nice, emotional, touchy-feely, really kind of delve deep into what makes us us, childhood traumas, just how we've grown for that. But since it's just the two of us, as guys, we said, F that. We're going to talk about Star
Yeah,
Wars
we're gonna
instead.
talk about lasers and stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, Kayla is somewhere. We're not sure, and Will is also somewhere. If you want to spread some light on wherever the hell you are.
I am, as far as the U.S. government is concerned, um,
Oh.
in the mountainous region time zone.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Right. I am currently an hour behind everybody else.
Well, that
Um,
would be central. When you say
it is
everybody else,
central-ish, but I'm kind of central mountain-ish
okay,
because
you're on the
I'm
border.
like I'm on that border. I am on the border. Literally, I'm on the border. So,
Well, since you're
oh God,
borderline, that's perfect. I mean, what?
lock up your wives and daughters.
I'm just kind of sorry. I'm just doing a little housekeeping procedure here, making sure these are all
Okay,
in the
cool.
right area.
Speaking of housekeepers, right? So,
Yeah.
um, interesting thing about out here
Hmm.
is no one's in shape.
I mean, I've heard some things about the Midwest, where I'm assuming you are, and no one's in shape.
I'm in the
Well,
Great Plains more than
look,
the Midwest. I would absolutely say.
look. When every 10 minutes, or not even 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, there's a McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Burger King. I mean, you're gonna get fat. You're also gonna
I,
save money.
I would agree with you, except that you have to drive so damn much that it's more like every 10 minutes, every 10 to
That's
15
fair.
minutes,
Yeah.
every exit.
Oy.
Um,
Well, don't let
the
it
cool
happen
thing
to
about
you.
being out here is when you say that you're 35 miles away, you literally mean I'm 35 minutes away
Right.
because
It's as the crow flies.
right, yeah, that's basically it.
I
There
hate
is
when.
no
That's like, oh, you're 35 minutes away. You're so close.
you're so close. Hop on over
Yeah.
right there.
Oy. Well,
Uh,
I'm same place I've ever always been. I don't go places. I
I
keep it that
mean,
way.
like, why is that? Why don't you like feel the need to kind of venture out and do things?
Well, no, 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 no. We promised we weren't going to have this conversation. Okay, it's a conversation
Fair enough.
for a different time.
Right.
We're not going to get into my damage psych.
You know what?
All
Let's
right,
just say that we did and never do that again. All right.
all right, fair enough.
Emotional depth, books, um, Ellen. Take it off the table. Would you say we talk about it right now? What do you think about Ellen?
About Ellen
Yeah.
DeGeneres.
Yeah.
What do
I
like?
I think she's neat.
I mean, I like her. From what I've
Okay,
seen,
cool.
I
There we
don't.
go. We have talked about Ellen
Okay.
on this
I was gonna
podcast.
say.
We will never discuss it again.
I've heard some shit about what goes on backstage,
Doesn't
but
matter. We're not going to discuss it ever again.
that's fair. All right.
You know?
Well, It is May 4th, which is officially recognized now as the Star Wars holiday. Kayla is not here, so she can't stop us from doing this and stop us from having fun like she usually does.
Yes.
So we are going. Actually, these are flipped, and these are flipped as well. Hold on. Are going
Mhm.
to do a ranking of Star Wars movies and I guess shows as well.
Um.
I don't know. Is there any you haven't seen? Because there's you might have to add a thing here.
I think I've seen most of them up there, except I think one. There's only one up there I'm not recognizing.
Out of the shows.
Yeah.
All right, then we'll just leave it when we come to it.
So that's fine. We'll
Um,
address that when the time comes.
all right,
But
let's
anyway, yes.
jump right in. All right, Star Wars Episode One. By the way, the rankings I didn't make these up. I'm not that clever, but I like them, so we're gonna keep them. Um, Star Wars Episode One. Now,
Wait, when you say episode one, you
I mean,
mean
oh no, we're going in chronological order. So
okay?
this is
All
episode.
right.
It's right there, Episode Uno.
Yeah.
So I think I think time is kinder to it than no, I'm serious. Than like the 10 years that came out after, people were just like, well, that's just Drek, and it will never be. But I think now watching it again, I will say that my favorite Jedi in canon is Qui-Gon Jinn. So
Okay.
I like it for Qui-Gon, even though I'll be frank, he goes out like a bitch. It
Well,
I love his character, and I think pod racing is really cool, and Darth Maul is awesome. Um, Cons, Jar Jar Binks, and that's about all you need to say about the movie.
right.
Um,
Um,
your thoughts?
Phantom Menace. It was a good return to the Star Wars genre. You know, yes, there was a lot of things that it kind of didn't live up to. Jar Jar Binks definitely was a big L to it all. But you got new music. There were some positives to kind of take away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, just another feel good Star Wars kind of movie. It didn't really budge the things.
Right.
The acting was like
Well,
outside of Liam Neeson being
right.
phenomenal as always. I mean, yeah, this is it. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that was cool, and
That was great. Everything else was kind of like, oh God, oh
I
God,
I
oh God.
I remember hearing once that George Lucas actually brought concerns to him, like the director, that he was too involved in like the world building, which I can
Right,
actually kind of see, and not involved enough in like the characters. Like it was more
right.
about like he wanted to create environments and not he worried about the environment first and then the story after, which kind of hurt. And then, but another thing I actually forgot about this. One thing I did always bug me about the prequels, and I guess you could say this for all of them, not just the first one. Was that he built C-3PO? Like that was stupid. Like you can't argue that that was
Yeah, that
dumb.
was a weird
Like
kind of
like
like,
oh,
hey,
everybody knows each other in this fucking
hey, here's characters you'll know,
right. Like,
right?
and the thing is like he's a fucking kid, and it like that's you see other robots that are like C-3PO. Like he's a type of droid. Like that, he's like a protocol droid.
Right.
So you're
Yeah.
saying that he just
It was
built
just something
something?
to kind of say, hey, yeah, they're
Yeah,
together. They've been together forever,
yeah.
and
Like, hey, remember him? Remember him? Like, yeah,
right,
of course we
yeah.
fucking remember him, but like, it's not the point. Like,
But
anyway,
that being said, I
yes,
mean,
I would put it at Padawan.
I would put it at night, honestly, just
Really,
because. Just
really.
because. Hear me out. I put it at night. Again, it does have some memorable scenes, uh, music, the dual fates, Darth Maul with the dual saber with badass. That just you know,
Yeah.
final 5 minutes of that. There were parts of that. I just kind of like, yes, okay, cool. This kind of helps redeem it, and just because you kind of have that 25-year gap between the last movie and that one coming out, they're just kind of like, all right, cool,
Okay. All right.
this is fine. But I will concede to Padawan, but I kind of put it at a night level.
Well, I mean, I'm
I
gonna.
mean, everything that's up here, we kind of have to kind of gauge
Right.
it correctly.
Right.
So
So I'll put it at night. I'll give it to you. If there's one coming, I'll come back to that if there's one that I feel should be higher
fair enough,
and fights you
absolutely
on it.
fair enough.
But I'll leave it there. So episode two has a special place in my heart because I own the DVD and I watched it constantly.
Okay.
But I will say that like watching, I think I watched it like 2 years ago, and I was like, here's a weird thing, man. Natalie Portman, world class actress. Hayden Christensen, if you've seen him in other things, if you've seen him in Jumper, he's not a bad actor. But
He
oh my
he was
god.
horrible in this.
Like,
He
oh
was
my god. But Natalie Portman, if you watch it again, was somehow worse. Like the line she delivered just like it was her second day in acting. Like it was the worst thing.
it was yeah, she was awkward, but Hayden Christensen just
He was,
the Jedi's won't let me do the stuff
yeah.
that I be doing.
All you got to say is, I don't like sand. Like, just and to be fair, nobody could have delivered that line. Like Daniel Day-Lewis could not have given that line. Like, could not have
Dude,
made that line work. Like it just
right. But at some point, somebody in the writers' room was like, "Can we skip this scene? Can we just cut this
yeah.
out?"
Like, what is this? I don't like
You
sand.
know,
It's coarse and it gets everywhere. Like
there
what?
is there is something I've seen and I've heard about.
Hmm.
Okay, and it's just like I think it it happened in the movie Queen when they talk about Freddie Mercury.
Okay.
And eventually it's because you become so big of a star, just so big of a moment in time that everybody's afraid to tell you no.
Hmm. And that was what
I
happened with
think
George
that's
Lucas.
what's happening to George Lucas in this. And everybody in that room was like, "This is the legend, God freaking George Lucas. Hey, he should say, I don't like sand." And everybody in the room was like,
What? I don't think he should, George. Like,
um,
and then he just ignites a lightsaber. Like, sorry.
um, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
job, George. You're a genius.
Please don't
You
fire
know,
me.
right. Please keep paying me.
Yeah.
Please keep me on this. Like,
Oh,
don't
God.
take me out the credit reel. Like, I need this.
But yeah,
Uh,
that and well, I would say the final scene with all the Jedi fight, like that was a cool scene. You know, when
that
they all
was
come
a
down
cool scene,
and
but
Yoda going nuts. That was fun to watch.
that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But to me, honestly speaking, that was the only saving grace of that movie was that 35 seconds of seeing Yoda do backflips with a lightsaber and just being like, "Oh yeah, I can get funky with it." But outside of that, I just,
All right, that's fair. When he fights Django, that's pretty cool too.
sure,
Obi-Wan,
right.
yeah, that's a cool scene.
But even then, it was just kind of like, I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't connect. It didn't connect with me.
Okay, that's fair. I'm willing to put it in Padawan. That's where you think it belongs.
Yeah, I say Padawan, Youngling, but yeah, Padawan, I guess.
Okay. It's hard to like make a difference between Youngling and Padawan. I don't know. I mean, if we didn't put episode 1 in Youngling or episode 2, I don't know if we're gonna put any in, but I guess we'll find out.
Well, if I was
We'll deal with that when we get to it.
in episode 2,
What's that?
that's the one thing I would put in Youngling. But I mean, that's really just it. But yeah, go ahead.
Episode 3. Episode 3 was good. I think episode 3 did everything it had to do. Again, the acting was not on level. But you know, the final sword fight was awesome, and Execute Order 66 and the battle with the Wookiees was really awesome. It was just one of those movies that I felt, like I said, it did what it had to do. It didn't really go above and beyond, which it could have.
It set up the canon, which I appreciate to a degree. It definitely felt forced at some times.
Oh yeah, the Yoda Emperor fight was completely forced. Like that did not need to happen.
Not just even that. It's just like, oh, Anakin, you're having bad dreams, and let me murder everybody.
Yeah.
To not have these bad dreams anymore. Yeah,
everybody's dying from a broken heart. Remember that? Like that's literally what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
You're breaking my heart.
You're breaking my heart.
Are you with him? You're cheating on me.
You've turned because of Obi-Wan.
You turn, he's turned you against me, and it's just
You have
like,
done that yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything just felt so forced about that movie, and they're just kind of like, hey, we have to set up episode 4 because stuff happens.
Right. Right.
So, hey, the twins, let me just give them to complete strangers,
Yeah.
and
Seriously, let's separate
you
them.
know,
Let's put one on his home world. He'll never go back
right?
there.
Yes, he won't. Let's have him keep his last name. you know, that won't
Yeah.
tip the empire off at all.
I don't know, Obi-Wan. I think they'll find you. No, no, no. I'll change my name to Ben.
No. I'll just become an old hermit guy and
Yeah,
kind of
Ben.
watches over him, make sure nothing ever happens to him. It'll be fine.
They'll be like, oh,
No,
just Ben? No, Ben Kenobi. Obviously, you gotta,
I gotta leave some clues
I
around.
gotta keep my family name. I mean, come on.
Right.
So I put this at night. I don't know. Maybe
You put that at night?
what Padawan?
Yeah, it's definitely
All right,
Padawan, dude.
all right. I mean,
So forced.
that the sword. Come on, though. The sword fight at the end is badass. When
The sword
Mustafar
fight was great, yes, but that doesn't, again, the
doesn't
same
absolve
with
the rest
Yoda.
of the movie.
Okay,
We're putting it
Yoda's sword fight
low,
was
though.
great.
You know that. Like we're putting it very low.
Fine, but we have a lot of things to go through.
That's
So,
true. That's true. All right.
right,
So original granddaddy of them all, the original Star Wars.
right.
You know what? I've watched it again recently, and it holds up. Like it's just a great fucking movie. And
It
when
always is hold up.
what
Yes,
it to compare it to the other movies, the pacing is a little bit slower, and it's a little. It doesn't have the
I
up on
agree. It is the greatest movie ever made.
up
Yes,
until the trench run. It doesn't have like the I don't want to say like the gravitas that the other movies have, but again,
okay.
like the trench run man is like one of the best scenes in film history. You can't even argue that. What
Chloe and
the hell was
Rennie
that?
went down the sand dunes.
That
Need a
came up
real
so
adventure.
perfectly. Did you hear that?
Yes.
It's just called us nerds.
right.
That was an advertisement.
Excuse you. I don't recall
I
inviting you to
thought,
this party.
I honestly thought for a second that you would like play that sound.
wasn't me at all. That's just so bad.
Wow. Sorry, folks.
I
That
don't
was
feel
an
called out at
advertisement.
all right now. That's fine.
Anyway, but yeah. So I don't know. Council member, Grandmaster.
Grandmaster,
Let's put it up
because
there. I
it
know
is. It's still. It is a timeless movie. I
it is
feel.
absolutely like you throw that on, I will sit and watch it. It's that good.
Right.
It's just that good.
I played that for my 7-year-old nephew. And he was just like, "Oh my god, what's happening? What is this? It's this futuristic, old-looking movie, and
Yeah.
that's just great how they did that." And I'm like, "Yes,
Yes.
absolutely." And I was like, "Is there more to the story?" I'm like,
Oh.
to me, that's like, what happens next?
Is
And I'm
there
like,
more to the story? And then like all the lights turn out and you just like get in his face like, yes. You're seeing like I think it's like Malcolm in the Middle thing where he asks his dad and like he just zooms in on his face like, are you ready for this, son?
Are you ready? Are you
Um,
prepared for the trials ahead?
Yeah, literally.
People will judge you,
Yeah,
but
but I won't. Empire Strikes Back. Now, Empire Strikes Back, is top
Okay.
tier. Top tier.
it is one of the top two.
I will say now, unpopular opinion, spicy opinion. Out of the three, I would rank it the lowest because I'm a sucker for a happy ending, and Empire Strikes Back ends miserably. There's nothing good that happens at the end of that movie. You know what I mean? And that
That
to
makes
me,
it so good to
but
me.
I see,
Like,
I'm the opposite. I need a happy ending for a movie. I'm gonna go through this journey. Like if I watch Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi like back to back, then Empire Strikes Back is like much better. You know what I mean? Much better.
well, that's the whole
You're
point.
supposed
It
to. No, I
was-
get it. But it's just like it ends on. It's like I almost have to throw on Return of the Jedi right after because I'm like, well, I can't just fucking leave it here. You know what I mean? Like Luke's fucking hand is missing, and then Luke and Han is just gone, and what the fuck? Like it just sucks.
That's right. That's what I thought like made it so genius because it says it's not even the title. The Empire Strikes Back.
Right? Yeah. It's
Okay, it's like, all right, yes, you blew up our, $60 billion Death Star.
Right.
We're going to hit you back.
We're not just going to rebuild it. Spoiler.
Right,
They just
yes.
rebuilt it.
I mean, we're gonna make it bigger,
Yeah,
but
slightly.
you know, until you guys figure that out, yeah, here's some things that we're gonna do. Like,
Right.
right, we're going to make your lives kind of tricky and difficult, and hell yeah, and of course, one of the most iconic lines in cinema history, not just sci-fi history, um, movie history of all times.
Spoiler.
Luke, I am your father. Okay,
I gotta call you out. He doesn't actually say that, but
he says, I
he
am.
said he goes, you killed him. No, I am your father.
You're right. Yes.
But yes, I do agree. I mean, that movie introduces Yoda, so
Okay, that line is
it's iconic. Yeah.
it's iconic. It's more known. It is the more universally known Star Wars phrase than anything else. I think.
I agree.
It gets referenced in other movies. Will always be referenced. I kind of feel so.
Whoa.
And that's why I kind of feel like I hear what you're saying. You like a happy ending, but like, cool. If you want that, I know what age massage.
Oh no, I knew you were going.
You can kind of get that with they're real gentle. You don't have to worry. Real discreet. You'll enjoy
all the things I hate about a happy ending: gentle and discreet.
Said no, slap me.
Just punch me.
Tell me you hate me.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Anyway,
we're not dissecting our traumas.
Seriously. Council member or Grandmaster? What do you think?
To me, it's Grandmaster.
I'm cool with that. I mean, the OG trilogy. Return of the Jedi, I might just put a council member. I mean,
yeah, Return of the Jedi. It definitely.
I'll throw it in there.
The happy ending, but
there's problems. There's problems overall with the movie. Like, I'm not going to argue that.
Problems.
Like,
it's good at points, but it kind of falls into that kind of downward trend where, like, the Ewoks and it's like,
yeah, and you're just a little bit like, they're trying to sell some toys there.
here's this feared galactical military force, and they're going to get taken down by a bunch of 3-foot tall teddy bears.
I can't argue. That is what happens. Like, that's not.
Your soldiers are that inept that they're just like, hey, they have sticks with sharp stones attached to them.
You have a walking assault platform, and they just throw a log at the legs, and they just
yes, right. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of just like, really, we're going with that. Like, that's how we're going to play that out. Okay,
but
cool.
It does have. Leia in the bikini, which is a great moment.
Yeah.
And the final battle, like, I do love that moment where, Darth Vader finally redeems himself. And that's actually, like, one of my favorite Darth Vader lines is when he's like, I can still save you. And he's like, you already have. And I was like, oh, that's such a great moment. And that's the thing, I think people about that, one thing they hate about that movie is that moment where they take the mask off and it's like, oh, it's just that guy. And I was like, that's the whole point. Like, he's not a monster. He's just a burnt dude. Like if people forget
that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And like, he's not a robot. He's not, he was the Minister of Doom, like, the Berenger of Death and all these things. But,
he wasn't just a dude. Like, he was a burnt dude.
yeah. There was a whole reason to him. He was still a human underneath it all. And that was the whole point. Exactly. That you can still be redeemed.
Right, exactly. No one's past redemption.
Exactly. Except Jar Jar Binks, but that's fine.
Yes, he's consigned to hell forever.
Yeah.
Now we get into some really spicy territory, the new trilogy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So alright, so overall I really enjoyed the new trilogy. The last movie, I'll share my feelings on that. But
okay. There's always.
I'll wait till we get there.
We split here.
We do
pretty drastically.
We do.
I know.
Well, do we split on the first? Because I did enjoy the first. I like the first
Did
a lot.
enjoy the first, but I just felt the first was just a New Hope on steroids. It was just a New Hope.
Right.
It
It
was
was
kind of,
very similar. I won't argue that.
hyped up. Let's go more over the top. Let's go bigger,
Hmm.
more explosions, bigger Death Star. You know, um,
Right.
you know, more X wings.
Yeah. More
Um,
more lightsabers. You want a lightsaber with two prongs? You got it. Here you
yeah,
go.
you know.
What is
Let's have,
that? You want another robot? Here's a rolling robot.
reminds you of the medieval knight swords.
Yeah.
Why?
But
Because.
but you know what? I do look, man. I have a crush on Daisy Ridley. I thought John Boyega was great in that movie. Like I thought it worked. Their chemistry was great in that movie. Um,
One part that I thought about it that they were trying to get back to, which I kind of felt like the original Star Wars kind of had,
mhm.
and and then the first trilogy, and the episodes 1, 2, and 3 kind of took away, was the notion that, well, okay, anybody can kind of be in tune with the Force. There's
All right.
some more
I'm
in tune with the Force than others, but
so glad you said that because that's going to really play into the next two for me.
yeah,
But
and
right, and no, and I totally agree with you. I totally agree
right,
with that.
you had Finn, it seeming like Finn is being pushed to be the next, the Jedi lead, and it's like, no, surprise, it's
Right,
Rey.
I did. Yeah, that was a cool subversion because they did
You
definitely
know,
play it like look at the poster. Like he's holding the lightsaber on the poster.
right,
Like yeah, and they did play it like all right, he's gonna be the new one who's trained. And it's like surprise, it's her. And I
right.
thought that was cool. Like that was a cool moment. Um,
And I definitely thought that it was trying to go back to the whole thing, like, hey, anybody can be a Jedi, anybody can kind of
right.
be in tune with the Force, and there's, all of these things, to kind of be hopeful and
Right. So
ecstatic for, to kind of to look forward to on it. And but to me, that's just kind of what it was. It was just like, hey, you remember A New Hope? Well, you probably have kids now, so let's let them feel that way.
well, we'll throw a new movie, but it'll be kind of just be the last hope or New Hope, but
Right? Yes.
but you'll be able to enjoy it. I would say Master for it.
I say Master as well.
All right, cool. We agree on
I
that
don't
one.
say
I like that we agree on that one. Now this one
right.
we disagree on because I remember you called me the day
Right.
after, and you were like, "What?" I really liked The Last Jedi, man. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. There was
I
now. Let me hold on. Let me
agree.
finish.
You
Let me
have your
finish.
head up your ass.
Let me finish. Now there are parts of it that I did not like, and I will tell you the parts right now. I did not like the whole like being stuck on the ship was a little annoying. I did not. I hated the whole Benicio del Toro storyline, being on the planet with the horses. I thought that was really stupid. What I thought was great was I thought Luke and Ray's whole training thing was amazing. I thought him. I thought that him going out there, like spoilers, whatever. I mean, obviously spoilers. If you're watching this, we're gonna talk about the fucking movie. Like he goes out there and then to fight him, and it turns out that he's just a force apparition. Like that, like that's one of the coolest moments. Like I did not see that coming at all, and I thought it was the perfect way to send him out, and it really worked. And the thing I loved the scene, the throne room scene when she kills him, or what's his name, Ben kills Snoke, like, and you don't see it coming because like it's. I thought that was perfectly done, and I loved that in between the movies, everybody was talking about like, oh, Ray's parents have to be this, Ray's parents have to be that. Like if they're, she's got to be like this lineage, she's got to be that lineage, she's strong with the Force. And then in the movie, he says like, you've always known who your parents are, and she's like, they're nobodies. He's like, they're drunk junk traders who are dead in a pauper's grave somewhere. And he's like, that's who your parents are, but that's not who you are. Like you have you're making your own story. And I thought that was a perfect, like you said on the last movie. I thought it was great to show that anybody can be in tune with the Force, and it doesn't matter what your lineage is; it matters what you are. And I thought that was a great line, and I thought it was just a great movie. And like I said, I love the ending with Luke, and that's my 2 cents on it.
more like 5 cents. So now you're about to get this change.
Oh,
This movie, it just felt so forced to me.
no pun intended.
No pun intended. Right. Like you said, the whole hey, we have to go to this gambling planet and get this guy. Like they could have done nothing, and the same result would have happened. Okay. Like there was so much about that movie. I'm like, hey, they're doing this now. Why are we doing this? That solved absolutely nothing. It's got them in more trouble, and now they have to escape with it. But they accomplished nothing in doing this.
And doing
You
what?
know,
Which part?
when they had Benicio
Benicio del Toro. No, yeah, I said
gets
I
them
was like that.
onto the super whatever
Right.
the massive Star Destroyer, and then he betrays them and sells them out
Hmm.
and back to the Empire, and you know you have that fine. Yes, like I said, the whole throne room scene fight that was cool, but they literally could have just stayed on Hope One the whole time, and the exact same result would have happened. The ending of the movie would not have changed. The whole Leia getting blasted out into space and using the fort to bring herself back to life real quick because reasons. Let's not have her die here.
Yeah, they wanted to do a death fake out because they wanted to be like, oh, okay, she's dead. But like,
I-
hey, surprise,
Right.
she's not.
I mean, listen, like Marie Carey passing away was tragic in itself. Like, absolutely, rest in peace, all of that. And
Like,
yeah,
what'd you
she
call her?
deserved a good send off. But I'm just kind of like, why do that? Like, there were so many things. I'm just kind of like, why? Like, it just felt the whole movie was like, look at this, haha, psych. Look at it again, haha, psych. One more time, I promise. No, definitely this time you're going to have it. This time is definitely going to have a payoff. Ha ha, you idiots. You stupid idiots. Again, yes, the whole, and it still felt like Revenge of the Empire. They hyped it up. You instead of the walkers, you had the super walkers that were twice the size of the original walkers attacking the last rebellion holdout. And that, of course, yeah, the Luke Skywalker scene was dope. I just don't think that was the way to kind of send them all. I would have liked to kind of see him do something similar like Ben did, and just Ben was his, Kenobi was his master, and trying to redeem Ben. Hey, you strike me down, and
Well, he did say that. He said, "If you strike me down, you'll be with me forever,
yeah,
just like your father." And he did.
he was a forced apparition, and not him actually being there was just kind of
Okay,
like
but he still did it. He still cut him.
I get it, yeah, but it just felt like it would more of he was actually there in the fight.
All right.
And I still just felt like, okay, so much of this was just like, again, more Empire Strikes Backy, but like less moving the needle forward. Because again, they could have stayed on Hope One running away the entire time,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie would have ended the exact same way.
I mean, they did get away from the bad guys, though.
What's her name? Used the hyperdrive to split the stars.
Oh, that was a dope scene, yeah.
Right, that was a
Although-
dope scene. That
Yeah.
was, but so much of it, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, we're doing all this. Outside of the opening scene, attacking like that planet destroyer, that was a dope scene. But so much of that movie, I'm just like, none of this moves the story forward. It's just filler. It's just filler to say like, hey, we're doing Star Warsy things over here, and now we're back right where we were to begin with. We've accomplished nothing. Nothing has changed.
But
You know.
some of those moments do bleed into the third movie, and some of those moments with, I think that he kind of did, because we're not on the third movie yet, but Ben did, eventually get redeemed, and you could argue that part of the reason why was because of his interaction with Luke in the second movie. And
Again.
yeah,
Yes, but we could have gotten right to that scene, and that been it.
all right.
Okay.
I mean, we have to move on.
All right, fine.
I'm gonna argue night.
I will put it at night.
All right.
I will give
All right.
you night,
All right.
but I will not go higher than that at all.
All right, I'll give you a night. So this movie, I will put it fucking youngling because I did not like it at all. I mean, we might disagree on this. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely, we disagree on this one too.
Oh, okay, all right, all right. Let's hear it.
The biggest flaw I had with this thing was saying that she was Palpatine's granddaughter.
Yes,
You know,
which to me ruined her character almost.
that was the biggest thing that was kind of like, all right, cool. Well,
Yeah,
that
like
was
that whole thing, you could completely tell that thing was completely forced in between movies. Like George
no
Lucas, like
pun intended.
he fucking stormed into the writers' room. He's like, "You did what? You made her not related to somebody?" Like, no, no,
Um,
no, no. Like,
this movie, it was the opposite. It was like outside of that 5 minute interaction, there was so much about this movie that I actually enjoyed.
really,
Because it was, kind of saying, it was kind of the whole, hey, we are rebuilding this rebellion. What is a rebellion? What does that stand for? What does that mean? And going out and just kind of reminding people, like, hey, there's not going to be just one hero out here that's going to save the day. We all have to stand up and come together and stand against
which is a good message,
injustice and evil in the
right?
world. And if we don't all do that, we can't expect one
Right.
person to save us.
Like that's a
We
dope
all have to stand
scene.
up and do that.
That's a dope scene when like you see the fleet, the entire like good guy fleet show up, and it's like, whoa,
Right.
like
It's
yeah,
like, that many ships, kind of appear, like, and that's literally what it was. It was like, hey, look, this is the end, because I think that's what they were trying to kind of go at. Star Wars for so long had been, the Luke saga, that hey, there's one hero in the world out there in the galaxy who's going to stand up and knock down the tiers of oppression. And it was kind of like, no, it's going to take everybody. Everybody has to do their part. And that's what I liked about the movie. That's really what I was kind of like, okay, it was really showing that. It was really showing that it's not just all on one person's shoulders. We all have to kind of stand up and do this. And even the final fight with Ben and everything, it just worked for me. It worked for me.
okay, all right. I mean,
That whole part didn't like come together so great, but the overall message and the way that the story was told up until that point, I was completely on board for.
I agree with you on the message. It does send a good message,
Yeah.
and but just the overall like the writing in comparison, the whole I might like the famous thing everyone says like somehow Palpatine has returned. Like that's all the explanation they gave as to why he was back. Like,
Well,
they,
I've read the comics, so I understand why Palpatine was still alive. Like
but
that makes
you
sense.
can't pull that move. Like you gotta give us more
You have
than
to foreshadow it. Like you have
somehow
to.
Palpatine is returned. Like that's literally what Poe Dameron says. Like, and that's the only thing they touch on it. Like, and it's sort of like, oh,
Yeah.
you wanna kind of really
Again,
like,
I read the book, so I kind of be like,
all
oh, it
right,
makes sense.
no,
Yeah.
I get that, but and then on top of that, like I didn't like the idea of all right. So we went through. I mean, this could be argued through the first three, the what's it called, the sequel trilogy as well. Never liked the idea that we went through all this shit with Luke and all this stuff, and then like, oh, by the way, like First Order's back and the Empire's pretty much back, and it's just like
But it's the whole thing. It's the
yeah,
whole
no,
like,
no, you're right. You could argue that, but it's just
the
also like,
Jedi, the whole Jedi Order and breaking it down to build it back
yeah.
up and stop relying on the heroes of the past, and it was all of that. To me, that was just kind of like, yeah.
But then you talk about amping things up. Now we had a battle station who can destroy planets. Then we had a battle station that can destroy many planets. Now we have star destroyers that can literally destroy planets. Like a fleet of them. Like I was like, all right, where does this fucking end, man? Like it's just, are we gonna have people with guns that can destroy planets eventually? Like
Yes.
just a pistol, like
Yes. Right.
Like,
But see, that's my point. That's my point about episode 8. Okay, that's why I knock episode 8 down, because I'm just like, if we're just going to go down this road, like you have to acknowledge that. But for its overall message, I did enjoy it.
all right.
Let's not dwell on it more. You have it at Youngling. I have it at Master.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, but I will defer to what you want to do.
I mean, I'll meet you in the middle. We'll do night.
Okay.
Night.
All right.
I'll have to watch it again because I honestly only watched it when it first came out. So maybe if I watch it again, maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit more.
Fair enough.
Rogue One, we actually saw together, and I remember
Yes.
you were the one that wanted to see it, and I actually like wasn't super excited about it, and I ended up absolutely loving it, and I actually watched it this afternoon.
Hope One is
Rogue
my
One.
Rogue One. Sorry, yeah, so yeah. Rogue One is my favorite out of all the movies. You know,
Okay, I
it
mean,
is slow paced. That's my only knock against it.
it's
It
only I feel like
does
only in the beginning, like after it, the whole
it.
like
Yeah, you need to get, but you have to sit through that. You have to sit
yeah.
through the first like 35 minutes of political exposition, and
Until
you know,
like lasers start flying.
right? Yes, NATO talking. Like, we can go here, we
NATO
can't go
talking.
here. We can go here, we can do this, do that, have this value if you do this. So do that, but don't do that. But don't do
But
it.
don't do it. Remember
You
everything they just told you in there? Forget it. We're doing this.
know,
Like
right, yeah. So we're doing this. But the
no.
characters were great. The droid,
Oh yeah, K
yeah,
two. Yeah, he was the man.
yes.
I
Everything
loved.
about this movie,
Yeah,
even up until the end of the good guys win, but you don't necessarily get a happy ending. The
right.
good guys win, but they don't get a happy
That
ending.
shows you how much I like this movie. That I mean, technically, you could argue that it is a happy ending, but everybody dies. Spoiler. It's Saving
Right.
Private Ryan meets Star Wars, is what it is.
Right. Yes. It's
And it's it's
and it
beautifully done.
works.
Yeah, it works. I loved fucking Chirrut Emwe. I loved Baze Malbus. Like I loved all like the side characters work perfectly. Like it just
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move. It's Grandmaster. That's easy to me.
all right, cool man. Solo. Solo, I actually did enjoy. I enjoyed more than I thought I would enjoy. Same thing with Rogue One. I made the mistake of sort of checking the reviews first, and they weren't great, but I ended up liking it.
Hmm.
I wouldn't put it, I wouldn't put it higher than Night, but I did like it.
I kind of had mixed reviews, feelings on Solo. Again, it had its enjoyable parts, but I also kind of felt like for the I mean, I guess it's the one problem with Star Wars. It's like, you have these characters who are introduced to you, and they already have these backstories.
Mhm.
And a lot of the time, the movies are kind of like, "Hey, we have to force this backstory now upon you because it was mentioned here."
Mhm.
You know, like, oh yes, you have to do the Kessel Run and XYZ parsecs, and the parsecs is a measurement of space, not time.
Right,
But
right.
we're not going to get into that. And now we have to explain, well, how that happened and blah blah blah, and how the Millennium Falcon had his iconic. It was just all these things are just kind of like, hey, we have to force this, we have to force this, we have to force this, we have to force this issue. I
Mhm.
did enjoy Donald Glover as Leonard
Orlando.
Lizard,
Yeah, he was really
you
good.
know, on so many different levels. Just even the reference from Community on it all is just great.
What did he do? You gotta remind me. What did he say? Because I think
Uh
I saw Community after I saw Solo. So
oh yeah, no, it was um while they did the whole thing, he kept saying about like LeVar Burton from Star Trek is his favorite actor,
right.
and so they make this joke. It's just like one of the guys is like, oh, yeah, 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 that was Lando, right? He said, don't you dare. And I'm just like, for him to play Lando, I'm like, golden, absolutely golden. But other than that, like I don't know, it really felt more forced on me. I have it in the Padawan category myself, but
All right, I'm cool with it being in there.
yeah,
That's fine. Like it was, like I said, it was just an enjoyable watch, but it's definitely
yeah,
not one of my favorites. Um, that's all the movies though,
right.
and
Okay, now let's go to the
let's
shows.
do the
Let's see if we
shows.
can keep this under.
Under an hour.
Yeah,
I mean the shows are gonna be more you than me. This is the one I've seen.
right.
So I don't know if you want to do this one first
Yeah,
or do.
Mandalorian, of course.
All right,
Yeah, we got to do
all right.
Mandalorian.
Dude, I put in Council Member. It's fantastic, and it's one of the best like westerns I've ever seen.
Right.
Um, it's not. It, I got to see like how it ends up, like because it might, it's not done yet, but I've loved what I've seen from it so far. I thought it's just done perfect. And I think there are some episodes that just, as you say, like kind of work as filler, which don't need to be thrown in there a little bit. I can think of
For a
like,
TV show, I feel like it's more acceptable because you're still
right.
driving
That's fair.
the
Yeah.
storyline forward in different ways. For a movie, it's kind of like, hey, I've never heard of like a filler movie. So a
Right.
TV
That's
show that
fair.
have some filler episodes, I a little bit more forgiving on.
Black Widow was a filler movie. Even though I did enjoy it, but that's a different universe entirely.
Oh man, that's sad.
It, you know I'm right.
I have no comment. We're not talking about Marvel movies today.
Right. Um,
Yeah.
I put council
So
member.
yeah, I'll put it at council member.
Okay. So the rest are all you. So let's hear what you got to say.
Okay. So Star Wars Rebels, which is the next one I'm seeing over there.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch it. It did kind of start off very Monster of the Week type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
where you kind of just thought like, oh, okay, well, here's this ragtag group, and what's this kind of have to do? But after like when they got into season 2, they were kind of like, all right, let's cut that out completely, because I mean, Star Wars Rebels has implications to the Mandalorian, the Black Saber.
Right, Dark Side, yeah, and
Yeah,
Ashoka's in it too.
that all has implications from Rebels.
Right,
When they were putting in Vader, when they bring back Ahsoka and her revelation, her finding out that Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker, and it was just so many things they kind of do. They kind of and the way they kind of even removed the characters, the main Jedi characters from the actual events happening in the Star Wars trilogy. I thought the way they did that was great as well. In A New Hope, not A New Hope, Rogue One, you actually see the Rebels vehicle when the fleet amasses.
Really?
That's in the movie, which is a nice nod to it all. But again, like, you've taken away the most of the main characters, so everybody else is kind of more, I guess, would be, Rebel support characters at that point. So everything just makes sense to it all. That being said, I would put it at like a master level.
Okay.
To it all. The pacing was not the best for a TV show, but it did have some really good, like, it's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely worth a sit down and watch. I would want you to sit down and watch it, Brendan. It's not as, painstaking to go through as you think.
Okay. It's on Disney Plus, right?
It's on Disney Plus. Yeah,
check it out.
They talk to a young Han Solo who's a Jedi officer. I mean, a Imperial officer at one point. There's just different things they kind of throw into that. Okay, what's the next one down there? Star Wars what?
It looks like Squadrons.
Right. I tried to watch this one. This is the one I would put in Youngling. Because I tried to watch it, and I was just like, I got 2 episodes in, and I'm like, I guess I should try, but there's no way. Like, it just felt, again, I hate when they force things. It's just like, something dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, it's kind of like
Star Wars Resistance is what.
Yeah, Resistance, yeah. Right. And again, to me, it's just kind of like, really what I need is they need to do a show that kind of highlights the New Republic taking form and the First Order becoming a threat again.
That would be cool, yeah. You can actually see, like, what the fuck happened.
Right. Like, they just jumped into that, and there's no explanation. I would really like if they had a show that did that, but I don't know if they would. They just these shows keep building off of the trilogies, and Resistance was supposed to build off of the last trilogy, and it just didn't really, come together for me. Clone Wars, the movie, I put at night. As a movie, it was just mid,
Right. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay. Yeah, because
right,
they did make the show after.
Right, yeah. The show was after. Clone Wars, the movie, was just mid. It, introduced Ahsoka. It introduced, hey, yeah, there was all these battles that happened after Episode 2. and what the actual Separatist War was going to be, and kind of went from there. And I thought that was fine, but as a movie, it was kind of like, okay, that you didn't really explain much besides, Anakin now has a Padawan he's training,
Right.
and she likes using 2 lightsabers at a time. The Clone Wars show, however, I put a council member.
Ooh.
Um, you know, it, it's very long. It's very hard to kind of, to sit through all those episodes, and they have so many like side characters and side threats, and it just feels like they just. Whereas in a movie, that character would have been dead a long time ago. It's
Right.
just,
Yeah.
we got to save this for the rest of the season, so we're gonna drag this along. But you bring back Darth Maul, you have Ventress, you have Count Dooku, you have all these like you showcase, the flashes of Anakin going to the dark side and becoming like, you know, all the red flags, like, hey, somebody needs to walk it back. And the Jedi Council just kind of being like, well, we really need to win this war. So we need him at the front. We need to keep pushing him, despite all these red flags we keep seeing, and just hoping that he gets it together. And, you sit through Order 66 and all these characters who they've built up for you to love that get killed off, and you have to kind of sit there and just deal with that.
Ooh.
And you watch how Ahsoka escapes, and just everything just kind of comes from it. It's just really like, I think that's the one thing about it. They built up, hey, like, here are these clone troopers, here are these guys that they've been in battle with and in wars with for like years throughout this show and everything else. And then Order 66 happens, and it's just like, your best friends have turned against you. And
Right.
it really just kind of got into like more like the psychological.
Aspects of it.
I want to save them.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't think it would, but
Yeah, it's really it's a long show. It
Mhm.
is so long to kind of get through, but the payout at the end was absolutely worth it. So yeah, like Clone Wars and Rebels by far like are definitely, I would suggest, Rebels is a little bit quicker to kind of get through
Mhm.
than Clone Wars is, but they're definitely, I would say, worth watching. You know,
Gotcha. All right.
you got some time, kill some time, go ahead and watch those two.
Well, we kept that under an hour.
Sweet.
I like it.
Okay. Cool. So,
So,
the Supreme Court is set to overturn Roe v. Wade.
good night, all.
Here's why I think they should start on making women less chatty.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh God. That's just what the world needs: two males discussing abortion.
Absolutely. I
Oh,
mean,
God.
clearly, that's how things get done in this world. All right.
And we're immediately canceled. Well, folks, see you next week. And until then, may the force be with you.
May the fourth be with you.
I hate you. Ba-bum.